So, I just saw Deadpool and Wolverine in theaters 2 days ago, and I'm gonna do a review, and I'm gonna start this off with no spoilers, and I'm gonna go into spoilers. So, let's begin. So, I actually really enjoyed it. Before I start anything, I need to address what I think about the previous two Deadpool films, but let me say right now that I really loved the first one. The second one, not as much, as in my opinion, there were a little bit too much characters, but other than that, main gripe, I also really enjoyed it. And then there is this movie, which it might be recency bias, but this is probably my favorite one out of them so far. But yeah. So basically, the story is that Deadpool is like Wade is trying to retire and move on with his life from being Deadpool, but then he realizes that his universe is in danger because his anchor being, who is meant to be Logan, Wolverine, had died because spoilers for Logan, which I don't really think that even matters because it was literally 8 years ago. You should have seen it by then. But yeah. And basically this guy named Paradox has basically told Deadpool that he can have him be a part of the MCU, but he had to leave all of his friends and everyone he cares about behind. And through that, Deadpool tries going to multiple other timelines to get Wolverine back, and each one, it's not the right one, as he gets his absolute ass beat by everyone. Every one of them, but which was pretty funny, but then he did find a Wolverine, and apparently this is like the worst version of Wolverine, who actually looks comic accurate. So yeah, I just want to say that there are actually a lot of cameos from all the failed Fox Marvel stuff, like. And not only that, I'm not gonna spoil that. I'm gonna talk about it in spoilers, but there was this one cameo that I was really happy to see, and then there was this one cameo that I was kind of disappointed by, and then there was this one cameo that I'll admit I was not expecting that. I'll admit that actually got a laugh at me, but my God, that cameo ended in a pretty brutal way, yeah. And then there are these two fight scenes between Wade and Logan, and I think that they were both really good, especially that it's the second one, which I'm going to talk about in spoilers. But yeah, and not only that, but at the beginning, Deadpool goes to the universe where Old Man Logan died and dug up his rotten corpse, and then Paradox's men showed up to arrest Deadpool, but he uses all the bones in Old Man Logan's dead, rotted corpse as weapons, as NSYNC plays in the background. God. I know I should have probably saved that for spoilers, but I don't care. And even then, it doesn't really matter that much. But it's also maybe I missed something, and but that the Deadpool's friend, who is played by T.J. Miller, is absent. Like, I'll admit I don't really like T.J. Miller that much, but I'll admit it was a little bit strange that he just didn't show up. Yeah, that was a little weird. And then there's also this one fight scene in the end, which where Deadpool and Wolverine team up of the fight to fight them off. But again, I'm gonna talk about it in spoilers, but I thought it was really cool, and it was really bloody, and not like that. Yeah, and also and also we actually got to see some cameos, a team of cameos from that of Marvel characters with that Fox basically forgot about. But yeah, and like I said, there was one that I said that I was really happy to see, and there was actually this one character that was meant to be stars in his own movie, but it is cut it out. But yeah, so I am worried this might not be for everyone, as this was a mostly cameo focused movie. Like, it was kind of similar to No Way Home, but yeah, but hey, I mean, it doesn't matter too much. But I do like how they actually somewhat did a one final hurrah to the Fox Marvel Cinematic Universe, or what the hell you want to call it. But kind of wish they I kind of hope they do the same thing with this Sony Spider-Man shit. But yeah. Okay. What else should I talk about without going into spoilers? But yeah. But yeah. Let's say that well, there was just one thing I can say, but I will say that I kind of feel like that they should have showed more stuff with Deadpool's universe, because the stuff in the Void or whatever was fun, but I kind of feel like that we should have, and well, like Paradox is all like, your universe is gonna die sooner or later, and I have the mercy kill it, but like, I kind of feel like that they should have had somewhat of a subplot of Deadpool and all of his friends dealing with the universe getting fucked up a little bit. Like, in my opinion, this was a pretty big example of show, don't tell. As like, I think that's a pretty important thing in storytelling, and I was a little bit let down that we didn't really get to see it. But again, this is not really a big problem with me. Like, it was much more of a nitpick. But yeah. What else can I bring up? There's also this villain. There's also the villain in the Void, whom was originally going to be in the Fox Cinematic X-Men movies, but unfortunately they were scrapped. So that was funny. But they have a whole entire ass army of characters that Fox forgot about. Like that element that was pretty enjoyable. So all those cameos, but even though they didn't really amount to much, but that's really that's what I would say. But all right, so I'm now gonna go into spoilers. If you haven't seen this movie and don't want to be spoiled, skip to this part of the video right here. And however, if you don't care about spoilers, or if you've seen the movie already, then let's continue. All right, so the villain of this movie is Professor X's sister, and like I said, she runs this whole entire gang of Marvel forgotten characters in the Fox Marvel shit. But I thought she was an okay villain, but I kind of feel like that they made her a little too overpowered. Like, in my opinion, I felt like that was a little bit jarring personally, but I think that's probably just a me thing or whatever. But yeah, but yeah, my like I said, she was alright. But yeah, and then there's this Deadpool variant in the Void, and he's called Nice Pool, and it's basically just Deadpool without a mask, and he has long hair, and I'll admit that and he's all nice, and the only thing here is that he doesn't regenerate, and he actually dies in a surprisingly pretty graphic way. Where Deadpool just uses him as a human shield, and he gets shot to death, and basically, and then he finally, and then Nicepool finally dies by having his brains blown out. But yeah, then there's also then there's also those cameos that I was mentioning, like there's Elektra, there's Blade, then there's Blade, which Blade gave me a lot of hype, like that was really cool to see. And then there's X-23, aka Laura, and I'll admit that actually was pretty cool. Let's see here, despite all the Shadman flashbacks. But and then there's also, weirdly enough, Gambit, because he was originally gonna have his own movie, but then they cut it. But yeah, and which was funny. And then there's that sad cameo that I was not expecting, but there was okay, so but when they enter the void, Deadpool and Logan enter the void, they come across a gang of these villains, and Chris Evans show up, and I thought, oh my god, is that gonna be Captain America? And everyone thought it was gonna be Captain America, but then immediately he gets set, he turns a fire and revealed, oh, never mind, it's a Human Torch. Like that actually, I completely forgot about the fact that Chris Evans played Human Torch in the Fantastic Four movies, so that was kind of funny. But yeah, and honestly, a cameo that I was really disappointed we didn't get to see was Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider. Like, I think that would have been really cool to see, but unfortunately we didn't really see that, and I'm kind of bummed, but hey, I'll live. But yeah, and then there is also and then there's also and then there's the cameo that made me a little bit disappointed, but and that was Sabretooth. Like, I think that would have led to an insanely cool fight with Wolverine, but instead of a really cool fight, like, I was hoping he just gets decapitated and then dies. But yeah, that was a little bit lame, but yeah. So yeah, and then there's the two fights between Wade and Deadpool and Wolverine, where the first one is when they first enter the void, and Wolverine is really pissed off about the fact that Deadpool got them there, and then they start they start fighting, and it was really fun, and I thought it was really well choreographed. And then there's another fight they have when they're driving a car in the void, and they get into a little bit of an argument, and after Wolverine roasts the shit out of Deadpool, they both begin fighting in the car, as they all begin just stabbing and mutilating and impaling each other in the car, and they absolutely destroy it, and they fight all night. Oh my god. Like, no joke, that actually was really funny. But yeah, and then there's never mind. I thought that was a mosquito. Never mind. But and then there's and then there's that one fight where I was mentioning, and it was actually just an entire army of alternate universe Deadpools, and you know how I mentioned that Deadpool used Nicepool as a human shield, and then Nicepool died. That was that fight, and I thought that the fight was really cool, but and they just mutilate all the Deadpools in a single frame, as it just scrolls around. But then all the Deadpools just regenerate, because of course they do. Shame Nicepool can't regenerate. I definitely would say that I don't think his death was as the most brutal thing in this movie as Human Torch's death was arguably even more gruesome, as when we first meet the villain, Professor X's sister. I could you not, she does a single bang with her fingers, and just all of his skin just gets destroyed, leaving him as a rotten, mutilated carcass as he just falls down into multiple pieces. Like, Jesus Christ! Oh my God! Rest. Put rest in peace in the chat for Chris Evans' Human Torch. But yeah, and there was also this really nice scene with Wolverine and Laura, and I actually thought that was a really nice scene. I actually really thought that was a surprisingly emotional scene. Like I honestly felt a little bit crestfallen from it. Like that was actually a pretty nice scene. But and then there's also the main reason as to why this Wolverine is the worst one, because he apparently basically ditched everyone, and now the world suffered because of it, which
that's rough, buddy.
But similarly to the stuff with Deadpool's universe, I would have wanted to see more of that, but again, it's nothing too bad, but it's just something that I personally would have wanted to see. But yeah, and then there's also the ending where Wolverine puts on the fucking Wolverine mask, literally after literally 24 years of not having it, he finally has it, and it's awesome. Like, no joke, that was actually fucking hype. Like, I like, if you thought the entirety of Avengers Endgame was hype, you don't know shit. You don't know shit, man. But yeah, and then there's also the ending where Professor X's sister uses the shit that she's sorry about that, but there's a mosquito eater, but then there's the ending where Professor X's sister is basically just using the shit that controls the multiverse, and she is using them to destroy it and create destroy every single universe to ever exist, and recreate it and recreate them in her own image, and then Wolverine and Deadpool basically team up to destroy the machine. However, and after it blows up and the villain dies, it is basically this big sad moment where we think Wolverine and Deadpool died, but no, they lived. Yep. Yeah, I'll admit that was a little bit predictable, but yeah, it's nothing really too. It's nothing too bad. It's just kind of my personal tastes, but yeah, and then we have a moment where Deadpool and all of his friends, including all the cameos that Deadpool and Wolverine were be allied with, go to Deadpool's universe and become his friends now. But yeah, and including Wolverine, so that was pretty cool. And I forgot to mention that Juggernaut, like the not the one from Deadpool 2, but the one from X-Men: The Last Stand, shows up, and we do not hear him say, "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch." Like, I'm actually a little bit disappointed by that. Like, no joke. Just no joke. Like, that was actually so fucking bad. Like literally, why? Of course, I'm just messing with you guys, but yeah, and yeah, that was my thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine. Overall, awesome movie. Obviously, I still greatly prefer the first movie, yeah, by a landslide, but I still really enjoy this movie. If I were to give it a score, it would be a 9 out of 10. However, I still, like I said, there were some problems with it. Like Like for example, like I said, it's the stuff that I really feel like they should have shown, don't tell a little bit better. But overall, I still, and not like that, and there was some stuff I was a little bit disappointed by, but still, I really enjoyed this film. And if you haven't seen it, I recommend you do. But yeah, what were your thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine? Did you like it? Awesome. However, if you don't like it, then I respect your opinion, and I would love to know why you didn't like it. But overall, yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine was great. And this was Boxy the Boxmaster, and I'll see you all in the meantime. Peace. I mentioned this, but I am aware that we are getting. This is technically the first MCU movie, and technically the first R-rated one, and I am interested in that. But I will say, yeah, I honestly kind of think that we might get a return to form for the MCU. The reason being is because with Doctor Doom being announced, and even though I would greatly prefer someone else to play him instead of just bringing back Robert Downey Jr. again, because I feel like Ron Perlman would have killed a Doctor Doom performance. However, I do think that this could potentially lead to a redemption for the MCU. Well, I like all this stuff, and hopefully, as the main reason why I think the MCU has sucked in recent years is due to how there wasn't really much of a story, an overarching story yet with it, but as of late. But hopefully the stuff with Deadpool and the stuff with Doctor Doom would improve that, and hopefully we get a tragic sacrifice with Deadpool as Thor mourns his loss.